Luke Thomas in New York City at the Bellator MMA Media Day alongside former UFC light heavyweight champion, UFC Hall of Famer, and now current Bellator light heavyweight. Tito, the last time we spoke, I admitted my last name is Thomas. I was a doubting Thomas. I actually have to eat a lot of crow here on camera. You told everyone, including me in our interview, that it was going to go basically the exact way it went. So here is me to you saying, I'm sorry, you were right. How does it feel?
You don't have to be sorry. I mean, everybody got their own little specs that they think they could really tell the truth of what's going to happen, and I knew it was going to happen. Be a 5-1 underdog. It kind of scratched my head. I was like, are they really putting me out that much? But it's cool. I've had through my whole career of people saying I couldn't do it, and then there's the people saying that I could do it, and so we all stand on top going, ha, ha, ha.
And you were gloating that night, which is well deserved. I mean, if you're going to gloat that night, it's the best night to do it. So, but actually, let's sort of like take a step back for a serious note. Which felt better, that win or the win over Ryan Bader?
Ryan Bader by far. You know, because that was, everybody thought I was going to lose. I mean, I was doing interviews, people were saying, so what are you going to do after you lose? I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm going to win. And my back was pushed against the wall like no other. You know, against Shlemenko, he wasn't as dangerous as Ryan Bader, but I think the Ryan Bader one was the best feeling by far, just for me.
Because you weren't you unhealthy going into that one?
Yes, I actually just had my neck surgery. I was a little beat up. You know, camp went really well just for that fight, and I had a lot of stuff stacking on me, you know, relationship stuff. I mean, just crazy stuff at home. I was battling my own demons trying to get through it, and I got through it, you know, almost alone. You know, it was just my 2 trainers and me and a couple training partners, and that was it, man. I was able to get through it and get my hand raised. But, I mean, don't take nothing away from beating Shlemenko. I mean, the guy's a great fighter. But that was a good win too. It was like a movie, man. It was just I predetermined everything so much in my head and trained so hard the way I did, and everything was exactly like in training. You know, we were doing 6 days a week, doing Ironman every day, sparring every day. That was the first time in any camp I've ever done that, and to do that for 4 weeks and do what I did against Shlemenko, I made him look average.
Less than that, and it was sort of like domineering from the beginning. I noticed that when you won and you were doing the whole gravedigger thing. I mean, maybe the Bader win was bigger, but you looked like a cathartic moment for you. Was that the case? Like, were you just, I don't know if relief is the word, frustrated joy? How would you characterize how you felt at the moment he tapped?
Bader? When Bader tapped?
No, Shlemenko.
Shlemenko never tapped. He went to sleep.
Oh, that's right. He did go to sleep. Yeah, bad memory.
And he kind of woke up going, Mom, huh? Where am I? It was rad because like I say, I worked with Paul Herrera. We worked on the same thing every single time. The guy would give his back, and he's not afraid to give his back. And just when he switched his hips down and I locked, I was like, I'm locking going, is this really happening like this? And it was so easy. You know, I kept my butt down. I just squeezed super tight. And when I felt him go loose and McCarthy ripped me off, it was just a feeling of going, the hard work does pay off.
Now, since then, how have you been? Have you been trying to keep up with training while also maintaining your health? Like, what have you done to make sure you can keep up an active schedule of competition while also sort of like not going too far in the other direction?
Chasing twins around the house. Actually, that was about my bit of my workouts. I've been able to take a little break, you know, enjoy the summer. It's been a while that I could actually take a little break, and, you know, I do my push-ups, I do my sit-ups. I'm teaching my wrestling class at my gym for my kids, and we're just drilling, do a lot of drilling stuff. So to keep my mind sharp with the drilling, the wrestling. But the twin boys, that's just been my #1, man. Getting up at 6:30 every morning, taking them, feeding them, dressing them, taking them to school, and then pick them up by 3. We go to swim class, and being a super dad, our super mom dad, I guess you can say.
So they're going to expect you back pretty soon. There was a report that came out because you were at the UFC Expo. And there was a report that came out that said you had said, now correct if this is wrong, it was reported that you had said you're going to be on a Bellator card in November that's scheduled for pay-per-view. Is that true?
I'm not sure of the pay-per-view. The last conversation I had, because this was after the July deal, was it'll be at the end of October possibly. Now I'm hearing about being on a free card, so all the fans actually get a free fight, which I'm happy for that too. That'd be awesome to do.
Have they talked about any kind of opponent or maybe a range of opponents?
Not yet. You know, I've kind of pushed on a little bit about me and Newton, because I'm not sure if Rampage and Newton want to fight. But if I beat one world champion, want to give me a chance at the true world champ and make me a champion again, and then me and Rampage would fight for the title. That sounds good.
So now you're working with Scott Coker. You almost did back in the day. I think 2011 you were flirting with the idea anyway of going over to Strikeforce, but now you're here in Bellator with Scott Coker. But you always seem to have a really positive relationship with Bjorn Rebney. What is your view on what happened? Are you glad Coker's here? Are you glad Rebney's gone? Or is it just sort of that's a different matter, you're not related to it?
I'm really happy that Coker's here. He turned around Strikeforce and he built it from the ground up. There's an opportunity he gets put into a company that's already has his infrastructure in, and he just needs to kind of fill in the details to make it perfect. And I think he can do it. I'm happy he's a part of this. Me and him had a very close relationship, and he understands the business. He understands about making fighters superstars. That's what it comes down. You want to make extra money. The fans that watch fighters, they want to fall in love and be a part of that fighter's career as they come up. And I think Scott can make that happen.
Now, you're not on the card, but I really want to get your opinion about this. The Bellator season, I don't know if they're really going to be in seasons anymore, but the next sort of major card is in September. That's on a Friday. The UFC is going to also have a show on Friday 10 miles away in Connecticut. They haven't been to Connecticut in a decade. They almost never do Friday shows. You ask the people at Fox Sports and UFC, they tell you it's entirely coincidental. Do you buy that it's coincidental?
No, not at all.
Do you think that a Bellator run by Scott Coker can be a legitimate competitor to the UFC, push them back on their heels a little bit?
Oh, 100%. But I don't think this is the time to compete against UFC. You can never compete against UFC. Or UFC, I think it really comes down to just giving the fans the fights they want to watch and make it exciting for the fans to watch the fights. I think that's what this is all about, the fans. I mean, at the end of the day, if it wasn't for the fans, we wouldn't be a business. We wouldn't be a fight company that people want to watch. And I think the fans are going to get what they want, either as UFC or with Bellator. And I think Scott Coker could fill the shoes that UFC has been doing so far.
How big can Bellator be under Scott Coker? Can it be what Strikeforce was?
I think it'd be bigger than Strikeforce, actually. The best and biggest thing I think behind this, and UFC has shown that the proof is in the pudding, is being on Spike, having Viacom back it to make it successful. And I think that's what it really comes down with. If you have someone who has a business plan that's going to stick to that business plan and not deviate from what you really want to do of making the sport huge, having Viacom behind your back and Spike behind your back that Scott has now, I think it's able to push it to the next level.
So it sounds like you're into the next chapter of your life totally at this point. Are you done feuding with Dana White? Is that now officially behind you?
Yeah, 100%. It has been for a while.
Well, didn't it rile back up, or didn't it move to the forefront at the expo because you went there?
No, there was no problem with me being at the expo. I mean, I went to the expo not as a fighter. I went there as a father and a coach. I brought my son there to wrestle in the tournament. He wrestled at the Terminator in Arizona. He placed at the Terminator, so that was an invite to wrestle in the UFC Expo. So I brought a team out there. We had took fourth as a team, and we had one champion and a couple kids took third and fourth. So I went there as a coach, as a dad. It wasn't about being Tito Ortiz, the fighter, to try to raise some havoc against Dana or the UFC. It wasn't about that at all. It was funny because a lot of fans were like, dude, can you sign? Can you find? I'm like, man, come on, let me be a dad and a coach for the day and be normal. But I ended up going to the Rockwell booth and the Monster headphone booth and do some autographs and help them out a little bit.
Tito, you sound healthy, you sound happy. You're in a good place now, huh?
Really good place. People don't realize how a relationship can really mess with a fighter's mind until you get out of that dirty fishbowl and able to be somewhere where it's nice and positive. I have my girlfriend Amber. She's an amazing woman who's actually really got me to love again, as you can say. And don't love to what I do in the cage or in the gym. You just got to put in the work. Being able to come home and not have to worry about nothing but training. I think that's what all fighters should do. They usually don't do well in competition when they have problems at home, and I'm beyond that now. Being a single father and have my kids super happy. Having a girlfriend that cares about me is awesome. And then at the end of the day, I'm just a normal dude, man. I just work hard and got a really tough job. But being a single father makes my kids number one and my fight career number two. And that's the first time in my life that actually I can say that, where I put my kids first right now. But I'm still staying in shape because I'm happy to be in the gym and training.
Tito, you're all smiles. Best of luck to you in the fall when we see you. And thank you for your time today.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it.